This podcast is brought to you by the Anime Addicts Anonymous community. If you would like to join our community, you can do it over at AAAdiscord.com, which is a thriving community of almost 3,000 anime addicts just like yourselves. Lots of friends for you waiting patiently. And if you want to be an extra helpful anime addict, you can go to AAApodcast.com/join. Our Patreon. We will reward you with our Hobby Addicts episodes per month. We just talked about video games and the Discworld series of novels. In our Hobby Addicts episodes, you get 2 of those a month. You also get 2 hentai episodes and 4 after parties. Is that math? Yeah. 8 exclusive episodes per month over at AAApodcast.com/join our Patreon. Now it's time to start the podcast.
Get ready! You're about to listen to the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at AAApodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Welcome in to episode 692 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast, where our sole mission it is to make your anime addiction worse. And on this beautiful day, August 27th, I'm joined by one co-host. We have Mason. He's looking good. He's feeling good. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Ignore the massive yawn that I let out at the beginning there. I'm just burdened by knowing without Caroline, all the dancing on this show will fall upon me, and that's just a heavy burden for a little boy like myself.
That's right.
So we're trying.
Yep. Because I, your host Mitsugi, will not be doing any dancing today. I will only be drinking coffee for the duration of our podcast.
Are there beans in this coffee this time?
Oh yes, there are beans this time because I made it and not pancake. That's right.
Ooh, savage.
Oh, pancake burn. She's in the next room. She's like, are you talking shit? Are you talking shit over there? Yes.
Burn
talking
over
shit.
the coffee.
I explained to the listeners that you don't know how to make coffee. You forgot to put the beans in it, remember?
All your listeners are sad today.
Yeah, they're all sad because she's not on today, she says. And on that note, if you want to support the podcast, again, AAApodcast.com/join or Patreon. It does help a lot. Man, just the internet fees alone are ridiculous, so it does help out a lot. It does mean a lot to us. You could also just tell a friend, if you want to spread the word. And, of course, we're almost at 1,000 reviews on Apple Podcasts. I've been waiting my whole life to get to 1,000 reviews. That's almost literal. So if you would like to get us there, you can go to iTunes or wherever you listen, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. And also twitch.tv/AAA Podcast, live Sundays at 5. People trickle in throughout the show. And we're going to be roasting some of you today because we're going to be doing our topic today, which is Anime Court. We will have some of our listeners from the Discord come into the court and have their Annie lists / my anime lists roasted in front of all of you. And then we will pass judgment upon these poor anime sinners as you confess to us your sins and as we make fun of you. So that'll be fun. And then later on the podcast, we're going to talk about Insomniacs After School, which will probably deliver less entertainment. That anime, well, I don't want to bury the lead. Mason, am I missing anything?
I don't think so.
All right, well, let's hurry along so we can get to the Anime Court, which I know is what people will be waiting for.
It's time for big news of the week.
Whoa! Not a big week for news, but we did have somebody important die in the anime industry. So, Nizo Yamamoto dies at age 70. Born in 1953 in Fukuoka, Nagasaki. So this guy is just a very prolific art director and background artist for a lot of movies you've probably have seen. He did a lot of work with Miyazaki. He worked on Future Boy Conan, which is a fucking awesome anime, and Sherlock Hound, Castle of Cagliostro. And then when Ghibli was founded, he was the art director and background artist for Castle in the Sky, Grave of the Fireflies, Whisper of the Heart, Only Yesterday, Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, which is quite a slate. So I imagine Miyazaki's probably very sad about this because, these are all old guys now, and it's sad to lose your longtime coworkers, which means that this guy probably worked with Miyazaki from, let's see, Castle in the Sky is like, what, 1982 or something? So, and then Spirited Away is like 2000-ish, so and Future Boy Conan came out in 78, I think, so that's more than 20 years these guys worked together, so that's probably pretty tough that's like almost losing like a family member at that point. So, and then after Ghibli, also worked on some pretty good stuff: The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, Perfect Blue, and Fantastic Children, which are all Fantastic Children, a pretty kind of a weird but good anime series. So I don't know, could be a coincidence that all these titles are excellent, but it also could be that the art is excellent because the art director was excellent. And Yamamoto, being the art director of most of these movies and series, might say something about somebody who was kind of a great name in the anime industry but got overlooked because they just weren't a director or a voice actor or something. So I don't know if you have any thoughts, Mason, on someone that's kind of obscure like this, but if you have them, well,
it's always kind of like not a point of shame, but I feel like so often we attach the success of a show to the studio or the director or the big name people that we see. Oh, this person did music, he's a good composer, and it's easy to assign the amount of work they did and credit they should get because of that. But anime is made of so many different types of people, and I feel like I wish we sometimes had more time to give people the credit they deserve for all the stuff that they just isn't outwardly. Obviously it's art direction, you see it, but you don't know how much he did or didn't do, and because of that, it kind of gets lost in the mix. When you talk about Ghibli, his name just doesn't come up, and that's, part of the industry. I get it, but it's a shame that folks like this kind of get lost in the mix. So when, unfortunately, it takes sometimes something tragic to be like, yeah, this guy probably was involved very heavily in what we love so much about these movies, and, to learn about someone through tragedy is tragic in its own way, but, yeah, it's tough. There's a lot of creative people out there, and that's sad. It's sad. I don't like it.
Yeah, there are a lot of articles online if you want to read more about Nizo Yamamoto. You can certainly do it. I just Googled his name, and it's coming up all over the place. So a lot of articles about how he was involved in Ghibli's founding and, what the role that he played. Man, some of these movies are just gorgeous, so...
Yeah, 40 years of just some of the most important works that come out of the medium.
Yeah, his
name is on him.
It's quite a legacy to leave behind. So 70 is pretty young for a Japanese person, but maybe not. I don't know. Caroline obviously has no news. So how about you, Mason? This is interesting what you've written here.
Have you clicked on this link yet?
No, but I saw this. I see. No, yeah, I haven't clicked on your link, but I did see it.
We'll post it in the Twitch chat. But it's never too soon to start getting your ugly Christmas sweaters ready for that time of the year. And right now, pre-orders are open until September 7th for some Yu Yu Hakusho, officially named Yu Yu Hakusho ugly sweaters. These are 5 beautifully terrible ugly sweaters
featuring
your boy Yusuke, Kuwabara, Kurama, Hiei, and the Tokuro brothers, which I was not expecting them to get the 5th spot. I was expecting...
He's not even... The one brother's not even on the sweater.
I think he's below. Like, if you look down at the base
yeah,
of
his face is... Yeah, okay.
It's plastered. I was thinking there were some other prime candidates in the characters, let's say, that I was expecting to get an ugly sweater. That said, I like some of these. Now, of course... If you had to pick one, Mitsugi, which one would you go with?
Well, first
ignoring
of all,
the fact that all of them are roughly $100.
Oh my god! First of all, I would say that Anime News Network brutally misspelled Toguro on here. They wrote Tokuro. Takuro, there is no Q. There's no Q in Japanese at all.
No, there's
It
not.
doesn't exist, people. Like, get a grip. If I had to pick one of these, I would pick the one that's the most hideous, which is probably the Kuwabara one. God, it's ugly.
It's
really bad.
It's pretty bad. I mean, I like his name in text. Like it. I'm a big fan of the Yusuke one, just for the little penguins at the bottom. I think those are very seasonal.
What is he? What is he shoot? What is he shooting? Who in the hell is he shooting his spirit gun at in the picture? It's like a fox person. It's got to be whatever the fuck the old teacher lady's name is.
That's what my assumption was.
But she's not. I don't know that she wears. Maybe she does wear a mask. I guess she does wear a mask for parts of it because I know there's a big reveal that it's like, oh my god, it's an old lady. An old lady that'll fuck you up. So.
Yeah, I don't know. You're talking about Genkai.
Yeah, Genkai. Yeah.
I'm just upset. I have to say it. I'm upset we didn't get a Botan one.
That's true.
If we had a Botan ugly sweater, that'd be tempting.
What is with the Kurama sweater? It's all just him. Everybody else has like, well, I guess the Hiei one is the Hiei one's not even. It doesn't even look like a Christmas sweater.
No, I'm sorry, people listening only. We'll post the links in YouTube below or elsewhere. But man,
go look it up.
There's some ugly sweaters.
Don't apologize, Mason. These people have thumbs. They can text. They can Google it on their phone. Okay,
and they can order them if they are so inclined.
If you want to spend $100 on a piece of shit,
at least, yeah.
God damn, fucking wild.
It's called fashion.
Oh my god, yeah. 140,000 yen. That's wild. Well, they used to be $140. Now they're only $100. So that's
there we
go. Pretty wild. All right. Well, thanks for that, Mason.
You're very welcome. Question mark? I think.
No, I would never wear that. No. I'm too frugal. I'm too frugal to spend $100 on an ugly Christmas sweater. I'm trying to buy a house. I can't afford. Blow that kind of money on a sweater.
How about instead of paying for a house where you have to run electricity or gas or anything, wasteful like that, to keep warm, why not just spend the money on a sweater?
Oh my god. Yeah, I can just live in the sweater outside instead of the house. Who needs shelter?
Exactly.
Who needs shelter? All right. Well, it's time for Anime Court. Do you want to begin this crazy mess that's completely unrehearsed and probably a disaster?
Yes, I would love to take the lead for what will likely be an awful segment. This is not my fault. Whatever it is that's about to happen, you can't blame me. This was a suggestion written in. You can go to our website, AAApodcast.com, click on Mailbags and more, and you can suggest a topic. And this one comes to us from Cade J. Kade J? I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. And it just simply wrote, reacting to / roasting Discord members' anime lists. So earlier this week, I went through the tapes, found some folks, some brave souls who are willing to have us investigate their crimes against anime humanity and present them in front of a grand judge of Mitsugi and a jury of myself, and you listeners will be the executioners to determine the fate if these people have sinned beyond the realm of good taste, I guess.
Yeah, once upon a time, I used to go to Otakon every year, and I told Pancake the story the other night. Otakon used to have a lot of late night panels that were just delicious. If you were tough enough to stay awake till 1 a.m. to do these panels that were unsuitable for general audiences, you really got rewarded at Otakon. I mean, to give you an idea, there were some 4chan panels that were basically there just to offend people, and then you yell at them as they walked out. There was a guy who. And this I think is more similar to what might occur in this segment. I'm not sure, but there was a panel called "Your Favorite Anime Sucks," which is basically just like where a guy got on stage and just basically people would just shout out their favorite anime, and he would just roast you. Basically, he would just roast you and the anime, and I don't know if that's what's going to happen here, but it might happen a little bit. So I'm going to play our drop here. I'm going to play our incredibly cringy theme song, which I made and it was certified cringy by Pancake earlier, so we'll see how.
So it slaps.
So why don't you bring in our first victim, so to speak.
Sounds good.
Our first defendant. Weeaboo, what you want, what you gon' silly weeaboo, when the anime addicts come for you.
So, our first...
All rise for the Honorable Judge.
Mitsugi and Mason.
Honorable.
There you go. Not honorable at all. Bunch of
That was
clowns up in
pretty
here.
good. All right, our first case of the day. We have case number 226899. Defendant, will you please state your name for the courtroom?
My name's Wormy Senpai. Excited to be here, I guess. Kind of scared.
Ooh, well, you best sit down, my friend. This is no place for excitement or joy. Now, we're looking through your records here. On Wormy Senpai, if that's what you go by. Now, it looks like you've put in some good hours into being a weeb. I see you have over 400 completed anime, so you've done some good community service. I noticed that out of all the defendants today, you have the lowest mean score at a 62.9 out of 100. So I'm a little scared that you're encroaching on my
That's
turf
the
of being a
lowest?
hater. That's the lowest.
So that's a 6.3.
That's a 6.3 out of 10.
We got some like cherry boy, like generous ass reviewers coming in here today.
We'll see. So, I've reviewed your tapes, Wormy. I'm looking through your 10 out of 10s, and they all make sense to me. I don't agree with all of them, but you know what a good show is, and I appreciate you for that. So I want to, get off on the right foot here, that you're a good anime fan, and we appreciate you.
Are you saying that Wormy has good anime at the top of the list here?
I'm saying his 10 out of 10s, they're jiving with me,
It looks
He's
like
not one with no taste.
I mean, it looks like literally all KyoAni shows. There's a lot of KyoAni hanging out at the
You're
top of
not
this list.
wrong.
I'm okay with that. I can jive with that, but let's get into some things here. So,
KyoAni's a little safe though, isn't it? It's like, you go out on the limb and someone's like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna say, we're gonna throw a Garzy's wing up there at a 10 out of 10. That stands out, but you play a little safe with the KyoAni because it's like, you're not gonna get ripped into little pieces over a 10 out of 10 on Hibike Euphonium.
Hey, it's my favorite anime of all time.
Well, there you go. Then I guess it should be a 10 out of 10.
So, a couple things I want to question you on to see if you're passed. Because overall, I think this is a solid list. I want to talk to you, my friend, about High School DxD.
I mean, what about it? I don't have it scored high.
You don't.
What
in fact,
about it, he said?
You have Season 1 scored a 4 out of 10. You have Season 2 scored a 4 out of 10. You have Season 3 scored a 4 out of 10. Yet...
Whoa.
Go ahead.
Whoa. So I'm just going to say, someone in here loves breasts, because when you watch an anime and it's got a 4 out of 10, normally you're not diving into the sequel. But if the sequel gets a 4 out of 10, you certainly aren't going to watch the third one.
I'm a bit of a scientist myself, so I have to dive in deeper to try to understand why people like it. And
So
sometimes
my
the
question
movies are
is-
just like nice.
So this is
My
research.
question is,
It's all
you've
for
gone
research.
so far.
Yeah.
You've done Season 1. You've done Season 2. You've done Season 3. But yet you haven't done Season 4. Are you a coward? Are you afraid of what you'll find out there? Are you
Okay.
afraid that that's the final step that's too far that will break you into loving the show?
Is that the last season,
Why,
the fourth
why
one?
not just commit? Why not go 4 for 4?
Well, it changed studios. So it changed art styles, directors, how it looks. It went back on the story because they deviated from the light novels at the end of Season 3. So it just, it's not worth it at that point.
Okay. See, I think at that point, I'm 3 seasons deep. I'm too curious not to at least watch some of it. It's not on your dropped. It's not on your planning. It's nowhere. It's like you're ashamed of it. How do you really feel?
I mean, I could put dropped, watched 7 episodes, which is the truth, but I watched it before I had an Annie list. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So
I have a take here. I think that Wormy Now, I know that there's a season 5 supposedly coming, because I'm looking at it right here.
Oh, God, help us.
Because you just can't have enough breasts. You just can't have enough. Someday, Rios Gremory will win the waifu war. But I think this is misdirection. I think that Wormy might love High School DxD and throwing you off the scent, Mason, with consecutive 4s. But really, one cannot watch the possibly final season of an anime because that would mean that it's truly over. And that is just too much for some people to handle.
Maybe.
What do you think?
Crime.
What do you think? The perfect crime.
You know, it's obvious if he rates it a 1 that he loves it. So he tries to hide it with the middle of the pack.
See, I hate how much you actually looked into that because it's kind of the truth. I put it right there in the middle to kind of try to hide it. But I wouldn't say I hate it. It's just not good.
That's fair. That's very fair.
I do have a Rias figure that the brawl does come off. So
the evidence is mounting aggressively. Well,
doesn't help my case, but you know.
Let's change track just a little bit. Now, would you consider yourself a fan of the Fate Stay Night series?
Probably my favorite series, yes.
Now, and I see that a lot of good scores across the board. I'm curious though, no watching of the best entry in all the Fate, which is today's menu for the Emiya family, the cooking spin-off show. Where is that? Where's your true Fate fandom now?
See, this is my shameless. This is where you poked where it really hurts.
I know.
It's been on my plan to watch for a while, and I do want to watch it, but I also want to watch Carnival Phantasm first because I believe it came out first. But I have to watch or read Tsukihime and some other stuff before. There's just too much.
As I would say for all of Fate, but I'm glad you reached the same conclusion, just in a longer way.
Yeah.
Let's see. I want to bring up something. You know, it's okay that you have a clear dislike for psychological sci-fi dystopian works. I noticed that you have Serial Experiments Lane and Ergo Proxy as your lowest rated completed shows. And no, to be fair, they're not for everyone. They're not everyone's cup of tea. I can accept that and acknowledge that. Now, that said, you rated them essentially like a 1 out of 10.
Ugh.
The bottom of the, just abysmal, unwatchable. If they had just the most delectable foot shots, some tasty hooves, the best paws, some ungulates, digits 11 through 20. If they had just the best feet out on the anime market, what score would you give them? Hypothetically.
Come on.
That at least bumps it up to an 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate
At least he's
the
honest.
honesty and the truth. Yeah. I think because of that, because he's been so honest, and he's put it in good, really hard hours.
Good and hard.
Watching anime.
Yeah.
My verdict, I think we can let him go. I think he's one of the good
Acquittal?
ones. I think so.
Acquittal. That's what I wanted.
I'm not really sure what defendant from case 226899 is even on trial for, but I just don't sense enough crime here to really convict. So I think acquit also.
Okay.
Nice.
We've passed judgment. Well, thank you, defendant, for your time and your efforts.
Yeah.
And if you are curious, you can look up all of the case numbers we will read today, and they do have some sort of ulterior reference. So that will be left as an exercise for the listener.
I'm going to expect a book report on season 4 of High School DxD just as soon as season 5 releases, because then it won't truly be the end anymore. So you'll be safe.
I'll finish it next Monday because I'm off for Labor Day. How about that?
And I'll tell you that I haven't watched any High School DxD, but I'm pretty sure as a breast lover, I would probably love to watch High School DxD. So someday.
It's actually not bad to watch while drunk or high dubbed, because the dub makes Forrest Gump references and stuff.
Do you say Forrest Gump?
Yeah, he's like, please turn me into a bird so I can fly far, far away from here. And stuff like that.
And you only gave it a 4 out of 10? For shame.
It's actually pretty good, but it's not good, you know?
I get you. Well, thank you very much for stopping by. Enjoy your freedom both Monday and from our anime jail, which you do not want to see the inside of, trust me. And we will see you on the other side, my friend. Have a good one.
All right, later.
Order! Bailiff, bring in the next defendant.
All right, we have our next defendant, case number 15780. Please, defendant, state your name for the courtroom.
This is Lady Emery.
Ooh.
Here at court.
Guilty! Guilty, guilty, guilty! This weeb is guilty!
Hold your horses, Judge. You know, we need to due process here. It's the only way we'll earn any respect in this lawless landscape. So, for those who don't know Lady Emery, looking at your track record, some positives here. You are known in our Discord for keeping track of all the Discord bets. To that, we owe you a great favor. And you just are often in Twitch keeping chat entertaining. So, you know, there is some positives to your character. Now, that said, some of your positivity is some of your negativity. And we need to talk about this because this is an issue. Your Annie list, which folks can find at Lady Emery, is the opposite of Wormy. You are near an 8.0 out of 10 average, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with liking the shows you watch. But that's a rookie number because you have seen nearly 200 shows and yet you still enjoy so much of that.
She just loves everything.
It disgusts me. I can't handle that. I don't understand the joy you must feel in your life. And that angers me, and we will bring you to task for it.
I think there could be some dishonesty amongst us. Subterfuge.
Ooh, all right.
Subterfuge.
Maybe it's just that Minnesota nice in me that I just would feel so bad about rating a show that they put their heart and soul into.
Oh, don't you know?
Okay,
well, Mitzi, do you want to
points
bring
for
up
the accent.
some charges you have against the fair case number 15780?
Well, there's some almost everything on this list is an 8 or above, really a 7 or above, almost everything. Only 30 out of 200 reviewed anime on this list are below a 7, but there are just some anime here that you have chosen out of the meager few that are below a 7. Some of them
this was coming.
Some of them are just going to hurt the listeners. Essentially, what I'm seeing here is that Lady Emery is, in fact, a certified JoJo's Bizarre Adventure hater. In addition, Beastars is trash. Black Lagoon is trash. Promised Neverland Season 2, as we know,
Okay,
is rated higher than Golden Boy, which I will never forgive you for.
See, that's what I was worried about is Golden Boy. I knew you were going to be so upset about that.
Well, Golden Boy is a crown jewel of the ecchi genre, but while you hate Golden Boy and Prison School, you love other ecchi shows such as Panty and Stalking. So,
I do.
What say you? What is wrong with you?
I like ecchi shows where you have female empowerment happening. I like it when you have a female lead character. If you think about it, the shows that I have down there, Prison School, Golden Boy, another can just also exist in its own jail cell for me. Those are all shows where the male protagonist is just getting swarmed by boobs. What is that doing for me? What is that fan service doing for me? It's not doing anything for me. Just dying on the inside, that's okay. That's okay.
and yet, female empowerment. And yet, in Golden Boy, the Madam President is the president of the company. The episode 5 is about the lady, the very, I have to assume, very independent biker chick who overindulges in her own motorcycle. And episode 4 is about the swimming coach who is essentially an Olympian, and Kintaro basically worships her and describes her as the beast, a wild gazelle on the prairie. So there is some solid female empowerment. And in episode 2, the politician's daughter pretty much makes a pretty strong effort at, even though she's kind of a manipulative psycho, controlling Kintaro. So I just don't know where the lack of female empowerment is coming from in this anime.
Well, in the ecchi genre, you either have two versions of women. You either have the subservient wifey character that's just always shy or like docile, or you have your goddess character. And that's what all of those women are encompassing. They are all encompassing that goddess tsundere-esque character. But what are their actual goals? Like, what are their actual driving factors beyond just being eye candy for your main character, for the audience?
That's interesting. Mason, do you have any comments?
About this debate or just her crimes in general?
Just about this debate.
No, I mean, I completely understand where the defendant is coming from, and I don't begrudge her for such visions. Nor do I begrudge you for liking these shows. So I'm a neutral party in this stance. I don't feel strongly one way or another.
I just don't know how the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would possibly forgive you for your JoJo hatred.
That's fair, and that's
pretty tough.
So hear me out. I still watch it. Like, I think maybe that show is going to grow in ranking for me. It's just that one is probably the complete opposite of like female fan service. That's just a lot of male fan service and the way that they pose and stuff, right? I will say the first season is just so absurd, and I watched it dubbed, so like just the accents are just insane. And Dio is just not my villain. Maybe that's where I'm coming from for the JoJo. I totally get if people don't like see my point of view on it, but when I want a villain, I want a good villain, either with a good backstory or like just something more. And while Dio is evil, and he encompasses evil very well, he feels two-dimensional to me. I just maybe want a little bit more from my villain too. Maybe some of that like bad boy daddy energy. Like, I want a Shomaru. I want a Sukuna. I want like somebody that like draws me in. And Dio just doesn't do that.
Judge Mason, I would like to call a witness to the stand.
Go right ahead.
I would like to call Lady Emery to the stand.
Oh, God.
Order! Lady Emery, on your My Anime list, I see you have watched One Punch Man Season 2.
Yeah.
What do you recall is the review score that you gave One Punch Man Season 2?
Oh, my God. Did I give that an 8? I actually don't remember.
Here, perhaps this document will help refresh your memory as you gave One Punch Man Season 2 a 7 out of 10.
Oh, all right.
Now, I see here that you have also seen both JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stardust Crusaders, and the original JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as well. And do you recall what you gave those anime?
Oh my God, did I rate them higher?
Oh no! In fact, you rated JoJo's Bizarre Adventure lower than One Punch Man Season 2 at a 6 out of 10.
Yes. Okay, that makes more sense, and I stand by
it's
that.
okay. No further questions. I rest my case. There you go. Next item, Mason.
Yeah, so overall, I didn't have a problem with your scores. I thought they were solid. They made sense to me. I just had some of your drops and pauses were things I had chagrin with. So, two very terrible pauses in my book. Number one, you paused Hunter x Hunter in the middle of the York New arc. Perhaps one of the greatest arcs in all of Hunter x Hunter. And, I get it if it just hits your breaking point. But, man, out of all the places to pause Hunter x Hunter, mid-arc, in one of its finest hours, it hurt me a little bit. As well as Chihayafuru, with just a few episodes left to complete. And maybe you were just so crushed by the defeat that happened in that episode. But, man, to see you come so close to greatness makes me sad.
That is fair. I am pretty sure that with Chihayafuru, that is exactly what happened. He actually crushed me, so I had to pause it, to be honest. Hunter x Hunter. Ooh, I know. I know. I think I skipped straight to jail and go straight down to anime hell. Hunter x Hunter, I got so annoyed with Gong. I usually love a Genki character, but like
Would you like to go to Anime Hell?
I might, actually. I feel like me and Anime Satan have some things to work out.
Because we can arrange this.
Does Satan have daddy energy? That's really the question here. Is this a mutual benefit?
Don't you think? I feel like
Don't
Anime
I have
Satan
a clip
has
of
daddy
Satan
energy.
saying, come sit on Daddy Satan's lap somewhere?
Maybe. As you look for it, let me continue to probe the defendant. Pride of Orange, the hockey idol show. We all know, not the best. I'm not saying you think you do, but it took you 2 episodes to drop it. And was it curiosity that compelled the second episode? What made you watch that second episode?
You know where you watch something so bad and you just think, maybe that was all in my head. Maybe I made something up. And so you just try and give it a second episode and you go, no. It's like you go in for a taste of something that's absolutely disgusting, but you're like, I'll try it one more time just to see. Gotcha. And that's what happened there.
Oh yeah, hey girl, come sit on Daddy's lap.
There you go.
Well, that isn't a sign. Mm-hmm. Now, I just have one final comment. And once again, I think most of your scores are fair, and I agree with them. This show that we're about to bring up, you danced around the issue earlier because you knew we were going to bring it up. It is a bad show. No doubt about it. You gave Harem Labyrinth a 1 out of 10, which is absolutely fine. Do you think, though, you've earned the right to give it a 1 when you have given no other show a 2 or a 3? Like, you kind of jumped down the numerical pyramid. And not to say it's not a 1 out of 10, but, do you think you got to work your way there? Did you earn that 1 is what I'm asking.
That is a fair assessment for how I rate this, rate shows, but no, Harem is truly awful. There's slavery. It's just a hentai. We'll call it like it is. The only reason I watched it is because I do adore this podcast so much that I have been watching for the last maybe year or so, every show you guys watch so I can listen in on the review and join in on the fun. That one was painful to get through. There was only one other show where I had to rush to draw the blinds in fear that my neighbors would look in to see what I was watching. So
and what would
I stand
that be?
by that one. Bastard. I have never run so fast to put the blinds up or to close everything down because I was not expecting that from Bastard. I should have expected it when it was called Harem and Another Labyrinth, but...
You see what she did there, Mitsugi? Honorable Judge Mitsugi, I should say. Yeah. She put that upon us. She put the evil of watching the worst show she's ever seen squarely on our shoulders. I think, and I don't blame her. I don't blame her.
I happen to have over an hour of Roxanne ASMR on my laptop here. I think that perhaps we should sentence her to watching at least half of that, or maybe it's listen.
No.
You don't think there is no crime that is severe enough to fit that punishment?
I mean, she gave it a 1. She's done her time. I think we just send her to Anime Hell because she likes it.
You want to go down?
I think that's all we can do.
Do you want to go down and see Daddy Satan?
I'll go see Daddy Satan.
You want to see Daddy Satan? All right, tell Daddy Satan I said hi. And with that, this court finds you guilty, guilty, guilty. May your soul rot in hell. And when you're sitting on Satan's lap, tell him I said hi.
Will do.
Thank you for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
Man. We've had our 2 defendants so far. Pretty, good taste, I would say, overall. Nothing too egregious.
Well, when you volunteer for this segment, you have to know that you're going to get the shit kicked out of you. So,
indeed.
In fact, some people that are listening are probably like, what have I done? All right, bring in the next defendant, bailiff.
Let us see how this next case goes. This is case number 116218. Defendant, please state your name for the courtroom.
Hello, my name is Pringmeister from the Discord.
Hello, Pringmeister.
That's
Welcome.
funny. I see the name Fido on our Discord here. Well, what happened?
So we do betting here on the Discord, and if you lose 3 bets in a row, you become a Fido. Which is the
3 in
house
a
cat.
row.
3 in a row.
I see that the anime cats of the world are mocking you. There you go. Throw
Yeah,
the
I
man
deserve every bit.
Throw him a bone. Come on. What was the last bet you lost on the Discord?
So the 3 bets I lost, I believe, to get where I am, is the review on Mashal. I thought it would get above a 3 average. It didn't. That was not my best bet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know why, but I bet that Heavenly Delusion would get under a 3.8. Again, another foolish bet on my part.
Yeah, very foolish.
And I honestly forget the other one, but it was probably also foolish, to be honest.
And in your estimation, do you bet that you will be found guilty today before the anime court?
I believe I have a good chance to not be guilty. We'll have to see.
All right, read him his charges.
Well, Pringmeister, we know you from the Discord. You're always bouncing around, asking about recommendations, asking if you should watch a show or not. And judging from your list, it's easy to see why. You're a newer viewer to the anime sphere, so there's not a whole lot to judge you on. You're coming in, getting your licks into the sphere. So a couple things I want to bring up just to ease into it. I notice you're a big Sword Art Online fan.
I am.
Nothing wrong with that. You have a nice Kirito as your profile picture. You list Sword Art Online Alicization as your favorite arc in the series. Is that correct?
It is correct, 100%.
Now, while there's no crime in saying that this numerically judged show is better than the same numerical judged show, you have multiple SAO shows with a 9 out of 10, as with Alicization. Why is it not a better score than its peers, if it is so far ahead of them?
I believe at the time SAO was the second anime I ever watched, all right? And I really loved season 1 a lot. Season 2 it kind of fell a bit, but Elicitation really brought me back into it, and it was amazing. I just don't believe it should be a 10. 10 is perfect, And I can't give it perfect because I don't believe it's perfect, but I believe it's just below perfect. And
Okay.
yeah, maybe I should drop the other seasons 1 notch to maybe an 8, but I also believe it's just as good. Like, I would maybe give it like a 9.5 if I could, but you can't
Gotcha.
on my anime list,
Yep, and that's fine. There's not every number is the same, as strange as that sounds. So, 10 in your own words is perfect.
Yes.
Such as Birdie Wing Season 2. Mitsugi, what's your opinion on a 10 out of 10 for Birdie Wing Season 2? How does that make you feel, Mitz?
Those are my thoughts.
Well.
I actually had no idea what that drop would play. It just says "Boo, anime sucks." That's exactly what it said. I don't know. I haven't seen Birdie Wing season 2. I keep being told it's better than the first season, but it would have to be a whole hell of a fucking lot better than season 1 to be a 10 out of 10. Because let's see, what 10 out of Birdie Wing's got a 10 out of 10 on here. Is that for real?
Season 2. So I want Pringmeister right now to sell us.
Damn.
On season 2. Why is it perfection and head and shoulders above the first season?
I want to know how. I want to know why Birdie Wing season 2 is apparently a better anime than Cowboy Bebop. That's what I'd like to know specifically.
Well, for starters, I've never seen Cowboy Bebop, so I can't judge that one. But why I think Birdie Wing season 2 is a perfect season is because I believe it elevates the show completely. On your last podcast, you talked about execution in the show. And I believe that Birdie Wing, for what it does and what it's trying to go for, has perfect execution in season 2. On the surface of things, it's a golf girl's story. It's about 2 girls that come from different walks of life, play the style of golf differently, and both have different goals in what they want out of golf. Ai has pressure from her family to be the best, and she just loves the game, but she just doesn't play competitively for others. She plays for herself because she was always raised and taught to just have fun out there. whereas Eve is playing for money, for her family, and for her friends, and she doesn't really care about golf. But as season 2 goes on, the characters grow, and they grow completely into different people, and they develop, and there's so much twists and turns that happen right away. Like, without spoiling, the writing becomes insane. There's so much outrageous twists, in my opinion, between family and friends, between Eve's social life and I's social life. And there's so much dramatic moments. Yeah, they're a little outrageously dramatic, but if you're invested into the show, that drama really gets to you, and it just gets you teary. There's so many scenes in the show where there's so much high emotion, and I'm just sitting there tearing up and like, oh my God, Birdie Wing, and I would just punch the air. And every time Eve would say "Direct Strike, Blue Bullet," I'd get right hyped up. I know maybe you guys
hyped
thought
up in
the
your
music
pants?
was. I get hyped up in my underpants.
So the court does apologize. I was looking at the wrong the wrong Annie list / my
Wrong
anime list here.
defendant.
So, but I want you to know that while you are passionate, you fail to persuade, and your love of Birdie Wing makes me sick.
I'm glad we finally got someone to talk something good about Birdie Wing on this show, so we didn't have to watch it and do it.
I do have a question though. This is
I
important.
appreciate the balance.
This is
I
very
want to know if you
important.
played the video game. I want to know if you played the Birdie Wing
I have played the
Switch
video
video
game.
game.
Yeah, do you give that a 10 out of
Played
10?
it. No, it's horrible.
Thank you.
It's really, really bad.
All right, so I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
And this is truly an indictment of yourself, and I suggest that you go take a hot shower after this one. You have seen a growing number of anime, which is good. However, while I see that you have seen about 39 anime since 2018, you have only seen 3 anime that have released prior to 2007. How can this possibly?
Yeah.
How can this be? Yeah, how can you possibly explain the complete absence of anything from the first 40 to 50 years of anime's history?
Oh, that's true. I'm disappointed in myself as well. I just started getting into anime at the beginning of 2022. That's when I watched my first anime, which is Attack on Titan. Got me hooked. I've been just trying to keep up with a lot of the new stuff because I like to watch the shows you guys review, and I like the seasonal stuff. And it's hard to watch a lot at once. But I do know I need to go back and watch some older ones. For example, I've seen Code Geass. I know that one's like 2007-ish. But I haven't seen that much old animes, and I really do need to see some. And like Perfect Blue I seen, which I thought was amazing as well. Actually, all the old animes that I have seen, I've rated very highly, typically. So I think that's just on me. I need to go back in time and watch some of the greats and just enjoy it.
If you were to go back in time, as you say, and watch one of the quote-unquote greats, as you say, name me a couple greats that you would watch, knowing that your life depends on your words pleasing me.
I really want to see Neon Genesis Evangelion. I really want to see Cowboy Bebop as well. I want to see the movie Akira.
How do you feel about these answers, Mason? Are these sufficient, or are they low-hanging fruit sort of choices?
I think the boy speaks earnestly and from his heart. I think the love he gave for Birdie Wing, though misplaced, was genuine and very well
feel the
spoken.
Passion, even though it was hot
He
and
also,
sticky.
played a very similar card to the previous defendant, 116218, as we remember. Or no, that's him. 15780, with once again blaming our reviews for his recency bias and saying, "Oh, Birdie Wing is like Heavenly Delusion." That was a slippery slope, thin ice right there. But I do think that the Pringmeister is genuine, and I think he's innocent.
I just want to point one more thing out here, and then we will submit our verdict here, because we got a couple more people that want to participate. Although I do think the review later will be short. How is it that you find that how do you possibly defend finding the time yet again for three count them, 3 seasons of High School DxD, all reviewed and watched in their completion, and yet you have not gone back and watched something as simple as Akira, even though Akira takes probably less than half of the time to watch than even one season of High School DxD, which you watched 3 seasons of. How can you possibly defend that?
Looking back on all my shows, I've noticed I've watched a lot of like harems, ecchi, and in theory trashy shows, but I kind of get hooked by them. High School DxD, well, like, we all know what High School DxD is, but somewhere in there's a little bit of a story, and it gets me a little engaged, and I have to finish it. And I didn't actually finish season 4 because I got turned off by the new art style. But you're right, it's on me. I need to go back and I need to watch some great ones, but maybe I'm saving the good ones and I'm watching the trashy ones first.
Mason, I would like to.
There are boobs shown in Akira.
It's true.
Oh.
Even though she's being punched in the face when her
It's not a great scene. No, it's not sexual at all.
And it's not sexy.
No, it's not. Listen, I'm trying to sell it on him.
What is her name? What is her name? Cowdy?
Cowdy. Kaori.
Cowdy, yeah. So I would like to make a proposal for our defendant here.
I'm listening.
Since I would like to propose probation for our defendant here, because you are a fan of trash, as I can clearly see from your My Anime list, because it's full of it, and I think you already said you were a fan of that. I think that we can let you off the hook here with 1, good behavior, and 2, a viewing of Golden Boy, which I haven't seen on your list here yet.
I have not seen it, no.
But first, you must say Kentaro Oe's name. Say his name, and you will be free.
Kentaro Oe's name?
Just say his name, and you'll be free. Accept his love.
I don't know what his name is, unfortunately.
I just told you what his name was.
Oh, Kentaro Sore.
No, it's Kentaro Oe.
Kentaro Oe. See, my
and the truth shall set you free.
My Canadian was coming out there a little bit. Kentaro Oe.
Do you have any... do you see any reason why this is not a sufficient punishment for our defendant?
I feel good about this. I feel good.
All right. Fido, a.k.a. Pringmeister. You're free to go with your behavior.
I will behave. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Now get the hell out of my courtroom.
Well, do we think we have time for one more?
Yeah. Pick the victim you would like to choose here.
All right, just for the sake of time, I think this will be the last one. We have case number 221208. Defendant, will you please, ever so kindly, state your name for the courtroom?
APC 243 alias Mittens.
What does APC stand for? Is that an acronym?
No, it's not.
I see. How mysterious.
Yeah.
All right.
I can't think of it as a perfect circle. I don't know. I know that band.
A perfect circle.
Yeah, they go by APC.
I was actually looking to see if I could enter some plea negotiations.
Ooh.
You don't even know what the charges are yet.
What do you think the charges are?
Yeah, what do you think you're guilty of? Let's hear it.
Oh, I trapped myself. Probably not seeing enough. To be perfectly honest. Not seeing enough shows.
Well, being new to the anime, there's no crime in that.
You've seen almost 100.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
That's not bad. 100? That's a lot.
Well, that's going to make it worse with some of the stuff that I haven't seen. To be perfectly honest.
You're just laying out the case for us. What else do you think you're guilty of?
What else do I think? Well,
what else do you feel guilty about? That's a better question.
Well, things that I feel guilty about. Is this turning into this is like anime confessional?
Yeah, tell us how you feel. Tell us how you feel.
We're gathered around here for you. You can tell us whatever you want.
Don't make a mockery of my courtroom, Mason.
Okay, that's fair. I'm trying to just use the evidence.
Never mind. We'll go into the proceedings.
I would like to know why your name is Mittens on Discord. Can you please explain this? Are you a cat?
because I'm a cool cat, not a hot dog.
Do you love cats?
I like cats, but I'm allergic. Yeah, I'm
I got lots
allergic.
of cat
I
drops
was
for you.
little.
Did you hear our recent episode where we described that all anime fans are furries?
I did hear about that, yeah.
And how'd you feel about that? Did that hit?
Uncomfortable. As a cat, it made me a little uncomfortable.
Did that hit
actually.
hard? Was it a little too close to home?
I wouldn't say it hit hard. It was a little soft and fluffy.
It hit you right in the litter box, didn't it?
Oh, I spent a lot of time in the litter box after I heard it. That's all.
That's unfortunate. All right, why don't we read Mittens their real charges, Mason? Would you like to?
Sure. I guess I can start with just a general disdain, a hatred, if you will, it seems, that you have for romance, which I think Mitz might find solace and companionship with you in, because he's not the biggest fan of anime romance. But,
That's actually false. I actually love romance. It's just that anime sucks at it.
well, it sounds like
I was gonna make roughly the same point, because I think I saw one of the 10s I have up there is Your Name, which I liked, and was like a little taste of something better, and I've just been chasing that high ever since, and have never.
I mean, I guess what I'm driving at is can understand there's a lot of romances in anime that don't deliver anything close to a grounded, realistic experience, nor are they just compelling. They're just copy-pasted from one to another, and they get tiresome. But I see some, what I think most people would consider to be solid romances on your dropped list, such as My Love Story, who, that's a pretty good one. As well as Horimiya and My Dress-Up Darling. So those are all, like, widely considered to be solid enough. Now, was it
Dress
the
Up
romance
Darling
that
is a
wasn't doing
fucking
it for you?
trash-ass romance anime.
Listen, I wasn't going to say Rent a Girlfriend, so I had to get a third example.
That's definitely not a romance. That's a sad fucking show. That's the opposite of romance.
So I guess I just want to make sure, is it just the anime's inability to deliver a solid romance to you, or you just...
No,
it's not meeting the highs of Your Name.
It must be that. It's got to be me, right? That if some of those are, like, as you said, solid, and I just wasn't feeling them, then I suppose it's on my end. But I wasn't gonna sit through another whatever, like 13, 20 episodes of a giant dude looking like he was gonna eat a tiny little girl in My Love Story.
That's fair.
But, like, I'll watch the other show with that voice actor instead.
I would like to know how you found time to watch all of these wonderful anime on your list, and it is a decently put together list of anime. However, you only have seen 4 episodes of Cowboy Bebop, which implies that you perhaps dropped it. And you've also dropped Death Note, Madoka Magica, and Haruhi Suzumiya. But you gave the Haruhi Suzumiya movie a 10 out of 10. Now, I suspect that you have actually seen all of Cowboy Bebop, and you've also seen Haruhi Suzumiya, but haven't taken the time to update your list, which in and of itself is a crime. How do you plead?
Not guilty, actually.
Not guilty?
Yeah, because I've seen more episodes than that of Cowboy Bebop, as you said, but I've seen them all out of order and, like, 15 years ago. So I don't exactly, and I don't think I've ever seen the final episode either. So about 4 months ago, I was like, well, I'll go back and watch it properly, start at the beginning and make my way through. And I've gotten through 4 episodes gradually. I've only seen one episode that I've seen again, the one in the casino, I think episode 3.
Classic, yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's inaccurate, Your Honor.
Well, the joke's on you, because Cowboy Bebop is almost entirely filler and doesn't really have an episode order for the most part.
Yeah, but it's It's my sense of what I do properly or not,
And
et cetera, et cetera.
and have you watched the Haruhi Suzumiya TV series?
I skipped 6 of the endless 8 episodes. I'll let you guess which ones.
I don't think you have to watch the Endless 8 or whatever the hell it's
Well-
called to watch the series, because I've seen the series and have not watched the whatever the fuck Endless 8.
Well, then I would ask you to define what accuracy on my enemy list really means. If I could, in
he's
some
a stickler.
circumstances, get away with technically not watching episodes of shows that I've completed.
I do like his code of honor. I will say he's not deceiving anyone,
Interesting.
and which is why it's been so hard to find glaring omissions with your list, because overall it's a pretty well put together piece of work. We're kind of grasping at straws for how to indict you here.
Oh, I'm not.
I
Oh,
think
we're doing bad cop, worst cop.
I mean,
I'm
I mean, let's just read through the drop list here and watch the Twitch gasp, and then we'll see how that goes. So we dropped Oshi no Ko, which, even though I'm not a big fan of it, I think that probably most people don't agree with that. Quintessential Quintuplets, Death Note, Horimiya, My Love Story, Madoka Magica Utena, Dress Up Darling, Haruhi Suzumiya. These are a lot of good anime. So
I think.
Are you just picky, or what's the deal?
I guess I'm picky. I don't.
You can
have to
tell me
run
to
a
fuck off
podcast.
if you want, but you're gonna be held in contempt if you do that.
Oh, then I won't do that. Then I don't like going to anime prison for.
You don't want
10
to sit on
years for
Daddy
no
Satan's
reason.
lap.
Does
not
he
unless
have
it gives them scritches.
Yeah, does he have treats?
He's well endowed.
consider it.
Ooh.
The treat has to be earned, if you know what I'm saying. Oh no! Oh! I hold myself in contempt.
APC,
Okay.
he's just so in control of everything. His emotions, his scores, he's all methodical. He's like the criminal who you bring in, you book him, and you're like, I know you did something, but I just can't get you for it. I just can't see it. And he's going to get away in plain daylight with murder, hating on all these anime everyone loves, and he's just going to walk out like nothing happened.
I remember what I was going to plead guilty for, but I think I am going to get away
please do
with
tell.
it. But no.
Oh,
No. Let's see if you can get it out of me. You might be able to.
Oh, I don't think we have
Man.
time for that.
I don't think
right.
so either.
We have to sentence.
Oh my goodness, he's going to walk. He's going to walk.
We have to sentence
nothing
Mittens.
I can do.
How do you find him? How do you find the defendant, Judge Mason?
He's a son of a bitch, but goddamn it, he's innocent.
You know what? As much as it pains me to say it, as much as you sicken me, I also think you're innocent. There's just not enough. We can't. There's not enough evidence to hold you guilty. So,
What a shame.
bailiff, take him away. Get the hell out of my courtroom.
Thank you for stopping by.
Weeaboo, what you want, what you gon' silly weeaboo. When the anime addicts come for you. I think that's it.
Man, I thought we were gonna book some more of them, but our defendants, they had some ironclad defenses going on.
None of
And this
these
had some
my anime
really-
lists were disgusted me particularly a lot. We didn't do Chitin, who was on the list, and his list disgusted me.
His did. We might have to save him for another day.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, we didn't have time.
I saved the soundboard for this, so we can do this again later. But yeah, Chitin, I guess we're gonna have to hold your trial at a later date, which is not that different than the real court system.
Exactly.
And but you're in big fucking trouble. You can do
A
the
sign
social
of
media
things to
from
come.
prison, from anime hell.
And listeners, if you enjoyed this segment and want to participate, let us know on the Discord, A, if you want to see this happen again, or B, if you want to join in. Hopefully it was fun. I had a blast. But we got stuff to do, so we will go into our news break. But first, a trivia question to keep your mind working. What is the lock combination to the school's observatory in Insomniacs After School? We'll let you know after the break. See you there.
Oh yeah, hey girl, come sit on daddy's lap.
Hey anime fans, Mitsuki here, bringing you your anime news break, starting off with the manga My Home Hero getting a live action series and a movie. This was announced recently on the Mainichi broadcasting system that there's going to be a movie for Naoki Yamakawa and Masashi Asaka's My Home Hero. It's going to be coming out here sometime fairly soon. The director is going to be Takehiro Aoyama of In Hand, production done by TBS Sparkle and CNI Entertainment. Listen, if you're a fan of My Home Hero, it's going to be getting a lot of content coming out. It's going to be getting that live action series and that movie, so look out for that coming out fairly soon. Next up, Zom 100 just doesn't seem to get any good news, really, as the manga's 6th episode will be delayed by yet another 24 hours from Sunday to Monday on a lot of streaming services, including Netflix, Hulu, and Crunchyroll. So that pretty much blankets everybody, I imagine. So just continually delayed. The anime's 4th episode, which aired in Japan on July 30th, was similarly delayed one day, and delays seem to be continuing. The 7th episode will air on September 3rd. We'll see if it comes out on time, and then a recap episode will air on the 10th, and then the 8th and 9th episodes will premiere supposedly on the 17th and the 24th of September. So just a lot of delays that I still don't know why, but I thought maybe COVID, but now I don't think so anymore, so we'll have to see what happens with this anime. Next up, the music unit Egoist ends its activities. So the music group known for performances in Guilty Crown, Psycho Pass, and others are going to be ending its activities. The vocalist Chelly will continue as a solo artist under the name Reichi. These terrible names. So the group will hold its final live concert at the Grand Cube Osaka International Convention Center on September 23rd, and also down in Yokohama on October 9th. So if you're a fan of Egoist, this is coming to an end, but maybe new good things will come out of their solo performances. Next up, Japan has been releasing radioactive water into the ocean that has been treated from the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant disaster that happened some time ago. So it looks like the country began releasing the treated water that had been used to cool the nuclear reactors on Thursday. This was heavily criticized by China, who immediately came out and imposed a blanket ban on seafood imports from Japan, alleging that it puts the world at risk of nuclear contamination. But Japan has been testing the water in the Tokyo Bay and in other areas, and they have seen that the radiation levels remain well below tolerable limits, Japan being very careful about this sort of stuff. So I don't particularly think that there's a whole lot to worry about. This is Mitsugi, and this was your anime news break. And now time to get back to the podcast. Hey, Anime Addicts, this podcast is brought to you by nobody. And if you want to help keep this podcast ad-free, you can go to www.aa. You know what? Honestly, guys, if you haven't supported the podcast by now, there's literally nothing I can do to make you support the podcast. Even the sight of my tears and my begging and crying and clawing will not get you to support the podcast. But if you did find it in your heart somewhere to support us, you can do it over at aapodcast.com/join. You can also go to patreon.com/AAApodcast. Throw us a couple bones. We will be ad-free. You'll get hentai. You'll get hobby addicts. You'll get... you know what we have. We're desperate here. Now back to the podcast.
And now, great moments in Anime Addicts Anonymous history.
Joseph Joestar is so fucking jacked He's on insane amounts of TRT. I mean, he has been juicing. I mean, forget Big Papa Pump, forget Hogan, all these fucking wrestlers. Joseph Joestar is jacked. He's been juicing. You could literally lift that rock off of Caesar.
That's probably why his mental capacity took a dive later in life.
He just couldn't get over the guilt?
Yeah, maybe.
Joseph's just like, you know what? He's such a great friend that I'm going to pound on the top of this rock with this headband because I'm just so distressed. But, you know, I could easily lift this rock off of him and give him a proper burial, but fuck it. He's good where he is.
He could sense the life force.
His mom doesn't care. She doesn't need to have a gravestone to visit. You know, the children will not come crying. That, you know, people will not weep in the streets. We'll just leave him there. Fuck it.
Hey, this is Joe Zeech, your voice of Claude from Fire Emblem Three Houses. Welcome back to the Anime Addicts podcast.
Welcome back indeed. Thank you, Joe. Your intro trivia question: what is the law combination to the school's observatory in Insomniacs After School? The answer is 1, 2, 2, 3. Ichi, ni, san, ban. You know, I'm only guilty of one thing, Mason.
And what's that, pray tell?
Not wearing pants.
Got him. Book him.
I'm not wearing pants right now. Anyway, now it is time for mailbags.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime.
Mailbag. Don't you ever get tired of embarrassing yourselves with this mailbag dance?
I mean, out of all the things I do on this show, the anime mailbag dance is like definitely bottom of the list.
If you would like to leave a mailbag, AAApodcast.com/mailbag is where you go for that. You leave a mailbag. You know, we're kind of behind, but that's because someone left like 75 mailbags. We do appreciate that, but since we only do a few a week, and really only like 2 a week or 1, it takes a while, but we do appreciate it. Raggedy Doctor writes, "How's it going, friends? The question comes courtesy of my boy, Ghost Space Killa. Mason, what is your hill to die on? You may escape Realist Hero 2, but you can't escape this question."
Oh, because that was the topic you guys did when you did that review. Okay. Anime hills to die on. Mob Psycho Season 1 is the best of the series. Better than Season 2. Better than Season 3. What? Broadcast order is always the preferred method over chronological order. I don't care if Season 2 came out before Season 1. I don't care if Season 3 is like a super in the future thing after Season 4. Watch the shows in the order that they are broadcasted. That's just the default. Stick with that and you'll be fine. They're making shows assuming that that's how people are going to watch them, so that's probably how you should too. Sure, there's probably some exceptions, but just start with that. I hate all the questions. Oh, what order do I watch them? Just watch them. You'll be fine. You're adaptable. Humans are adaptable. You'll figure it out. If your mystery show doesn't have clues in it, it's just a bad thriller. It's not a mystery show.
Oh, I see.
You need to give the audience clues. Otherwise, it sucks.
Trash.
And finally, source material should be sacrificed, if needed, to the anime medium. If a show is bad and you're like, well, it was that way in the manga, so therefore it has to be that way in the anime. No, it doesn't. If if part of the manga is bad, they should change it for the anime where, you know, it makes sense for pacing or story or writing or however to make the anime the best product it can be and not be shackled down to the manga. If I wanted the manga, I can read that. I get you want a one-to-one. Doesn't always work. There's a lot of things that get in the way of that. Make the best product for the medium you're working in. So, there you go. There's some hills to die on. That's all I got.
All right, would you like to read the next mailbag?
I would, and it comes from Champ Eagle, who writes, "Hi everyone, big fan. As someone who's returned to watching anime after taking a 10-plus year break," dang, most people aren't even watching for that long, let alone taking a break, "it seems I've missed a lot. Anime Club has been a great help, but what are your must-watch series for someone wanting to catch up? Thanks for all you do. Mitsugi." Someone's gone anime since 2013. They come back. What year is it? Bro, it's 2023. What shows are you going to tell them they need to watch?
Got some Encino Man shit here.
Yeah.
Betty Nugs. No, he's in the juice. Vinland Saga, obviously, I still think it's the best anime, I don't know, in a long-ass time. Odd Taxi is great. Reincarnated as a Sword was a lot of fun. Devilman Crybaby was obviously, like, I don't know, masterpiece pretty much. Attack on Titan, crowd favorite. Jobless Reincarnation is apparently vastly the most popular anime this season, at least, so that thing's still clipping along pretty hard. I can't remember when Space Brothers came out, but I would throw that one in there. What do you think?
I tried to just really quickly make a list of good shows and popular shows because, honestly, if you've been gone for 10 years and you come back and you haven't seen Demon Slayer, while it might not be like the critical masterpiece, you're going to be lost on so much of the anime merchandise and conversation and just discussion. So, Demon Slayer, Kaguya-sama, One Punch Man, Mob Psycho 100, March Comes in Like a Lion, Jujutsu Kaisen, Spy Family, Made in Abyss, and Rakugo Shinju will probably cover a bunch of weird bases that are probably a must-watch for different reasons, as well as everything that Mitt said. So,
there you go.
There you go.
It's a pretty long list. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know we just gave you at least 12 anime, so get cracking.
Get back to work.
Some of these
back
aren't short.
Mine.
Attack on Titan is never going to end, apparently. Did it end?
Nope. It's final.
It's a fucking joke. It's a joke.
Part, I think, comes out this fall.
God.
So
I gotta say, like, not to just trash on Attack on Titan while Caroline's not here to defend it, but at some point when something's in the final, like, I just don't care. I'm never gonna finish it. All right, now here we go.
It is time for our review of Insomniacs After School. This was failed by Caroline in episode 675, but it was brought back by you, the listeners, with your listener choice pick. It is a spring 2023 show. It is streaming on High Dive, and it's based on a manga by Makoto Ojiro. And the synopsis tells the story of Ganta Nakami, who's a high school student who suffers from insomnia. One day, he meets Isaki Magari, a girl who also suffers from insomnia. If they have a romance together, the question is, do they ever sleep together? We're going to find out by watching this show. The studio is Leiden Films, who take on a bunch of shows all the time. Just this season alone, they're doing Bastard Season 2, Atelier Ryza, and Rurouni Kenshin. So they get a lot of stuff. The quality is usually all over the place. So, with that said, expectations coming into Insomniacs. Mitsugi, what were you thinking you were going to get?
I mean, I was basically told for at least 6 weeks before we watched this that I was going to hate this anime and want to kill myself. So, I mean, that's pretty much what I expected. You know,
okay.
When you're directly told that many times, you know, prepare yourself for the hell on earth that is Insomniacs After School. You know, whether or not that's true or not, that's what I expected because that's what I kept being told. So,
fair enough. As for myself, this had a lot of hype with the manga readers, and I remember Caroline just wasn't really feeling it in her impressions, and I hadn't watched anything since, and I was like, I wonder who's right, manga, Caroline, or everyone else who's watching the anime. So I was just kind of floating out there. I didn't know if it was going to be good or bad, but I knew I was going to feel some sort of way about it, so pretty neutral. With that said, spoiler-free recommendation. Should people watch Insomniacs After School?
First of all, I would like to put High Dive back on trial. What the fuck is wrong with High Dive? So here's a few things, right? So High Dive is now a pile of shit, and I now remove Hulu from the doghouse. A few things about High Dive. One, High Dive is supposed to be a dub house, okay? You're all simul dubs and all this, like whatever. This is not even fucking dubbed, okay? So you basically snatch this anime up for you to not even dub it, which is I'm pretty sure what people are paying for. That's why they sign up for High Dive. And you didn't even dub it. So, look, I got this stack of credit cards here. Like this is like 3 of them. I got like 5 more. Some of these are for the podcast, you know. But it's like, thank God I have a lot of email addresses and credit cards because I am on like my 17th high dive trial at this point. But it's not even dubbed. And also, I just got to add a few more things here. High Dive must have the worst media player of any streaming service I've ever seen. So if you're on your phone and you want to rewatch something that just happened, not only does the player not have a back button, like a back 15 seconds button, which every other player has, but you can't even hit the little fucking scroll bar on the bottom with your finger and slide it because it's so close to the bottom of the screen that it's unslidable half the time. And then if you do manage to get it and you do move it, it'll just move the thing back to where it was and not even rewind. Then, this morning, I was finishing this anime off, and I wanted to skip to the next episode because the OP and ED of this anime are beyond horrific. And it doesn't even have a skip to next episode button at all. Nothing. You have to literally just like fast forward and then ultimately watch like the last 7 seconds of the episode. But you're paying for this shit. How the fuck does High Dive get away with having like a media player that can't even sniff what would exist on a hentai porn site? So I don't know how this happens, but like we gotta quit watching High Dive anime. This is just terrible at this point. I don't know. It's beyond abuse. Just launching into it, I thought about cutting a clip of this because I was so tortured. Because again, on High Dive, you can't fucking fast forward. It won't work. There's no skip the intro thing like Netflix has got. This intro song, I know we're not supposed to talk shit on fucking people's music or whatever, but like,
nah, go ahead.
This band, Aiko, their singer, I have to assume you write your own music. I'm speaking directly to the singer at this point. You cannot sing. I mean, maybe you can at a certain register, but half of this theme song is written so far above this girl's register that she's literally straining to hit the notes for about half of this OP, and it is just absolutely brutal to listen to. I mean, you are essentially listening to someone sing off-key because the notes are about half an octave to an octave above what they can sing. That's not to say you're a bad singer. I just wonder why you or whoever else wrote this song in a key that the singer can't sing. And I thought about cutting a clip of it because, I don't know, it's just brutal. But then you combine that with High Dive that doesn't let you skip anywhere, and it's just like you're just basically dialed in. You got to mute it or something. I would not really recommend this anime. I mean, this is not the worst slice of life romance show I've seen in the last 5 years. Some of the romance elements are pretty solid and well thought out. But this anime has brutal pacing. It is truly brutal and is utterly unbingeable. I mean, this anime, not only does it entirely lack conflict whatsoever, there's absolutely no. Most stories, if you go to for fifth grade English class, they'll teach you that a story has a conflict, a protagonist, an antagonist, whatever. This anime has no conflict and no antagonist at all, including the insomnia. So it's just tough to watch it. I mean, it is. You can't binge this anime. This is an anime you watch once a week. I don't even know, like while you're eating dinner or something, and that's it. Because this anime is so slow and so brutally paced that if you watch it all at once, like I did, you're gonna feel like you're being tortured. That's the bottom line. But that said, some of the romantic elements were quite solid, although they may or may not go anywhere. We'll get to that. But no, I don't think I'd recommend it. There's just too many slice of life shows and too many romance shows that do it better. I mean, fuck me, man. If you want to watch a romance, even though it's not like this like masterpiece anime, even something like Amagami SS is going to get you like way the fuck closer to a romance than this will. So that being said, I'm not going to say any more until the spoilers because, we'll get to it. But Mason, how do you feel about it?
I thought that the romance in this romance show was quite good. Definitely a better romance than we're often fed in anime. Now, along with that romance comes a plethora of production and pacing and writing issues. There's just a lot of cruddy parts about the show. but the core nucleus of the romance is good enough where I would recommend the show if you just want a good romance show, and are fine with the rest of everything being kind of crummy. To me, the show is like if you went to go see a concert, your favorite band is playing, and you go there and the parking lot's full and you have to pay more for parking at a kind of shady parking garage, and you have to walk across the street, and it's blistering hot, you have to wait in line, and it's a miserable day, you forgot water, you're sweating, you're gross, you feel nasty, some guy steps on your shoe, you kind of bang your shin going into the venue, you go and you watch the band, and they do awesome. It's a great show, you have a bunch of fun. You leave, your car got ticketed, it got towed, the diner you go to eat after the show is just greasy and you feel gross after, and you go home and you puke. And someone's like, hey, how was the concert experience? And you're like, man, like, the core nucleus of it was good. Like, I came for the romance. I came for the band to play their songs, and that was enjoyable. But everything else that was, like, part of that experience, it wasn't great. So it's like, what do you focus on? And at the core, like I said, good romance, not the best rest of anything else. So with that said, I think, yeah, I'd recommend it only for people who want that romance and that nugget, and we will get into everything else now with spoilers.
Spoilers are coming. Oh my god!
I thought, all right, so this anime was really cute in spots. And I am a sucker for romance. I mean, the literal ending of Tomo-chan that we reviewed like months ago or whatever was the difference between me giving that show a 2 and giving it a 4, because I'm not here to watch like nothing happen the whole show. This show did have some cute moments in it. The best episode in this anime is episode 4. There's no doubt about it, because that is essentially to me the end of the insomnia portion of this anime. This anime goes from being about a kid who can't sleep, so he tries to catch Z's at school or whatever, to a kid who goes off to sleep in the club room because it's abandoned and finds a girl in the club room who has the same problem that he has. And they learn very quickly, as honestly, it's not just these two, but like snuggling up with someone else tends to, for some people, facilitate better sleep quality. That is not uncommon. You can look it up. It's pretty well-founded, I think. These two are going to get better sleep no matter who the fuck you're sleeping next to. It doesn't need to be each other specifically. But in episode 4, they are on the beach together, having a moment, and they say, I have never had, when I slept next to you in the club room, I had the best sleep of my life. They both agreed. They kind of held hands, I think. And then there's like this romantic starry sky scene on the beach, and they lay there and they just want to like catch some Z's together or whatever on the beach at night because they have found some solace from this terrible affliction, although ridiculously easily cured, that is insomnia. And but that's the end of the insomnia in this anime. Like, they just don't care about it. It was unbelievable to me, Mason, because like in episode 4, it's like, wow, something's happening here. This is like developing and looking good. And then it just pivots into like a generic school anime. And then it's all about like your club activities and the fucking festival and the fireworks show and the beach and all this. And it's just like, here we go again with the same shit. I mean, yeah, pretty much. And God, man, what a good concept, but just like water in a colander, it just slips right out.
I mean, I think obviously the insomnia aspect and to an extent the club photography of the, taking pictures of the stars were both just vehicles, excuses that were there for their relationship to kind of sprout. And it was the seeds that things came from. And it was only kind of tangentially important to how they were going forward. So I guess I don't mind that every episode wasn't about them dealing with the insomnia or trying to do, get a certain photograph. Like, it was all just in service of them spending time together. So I was okay that aspect of it wasn't really hampered on aggressively, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it was there enough. It made for some nice moments. You know, them calling each other and just kind of talking through a radio broadcast for the other to fall asleep was cute. I don't know why they couldn't just call each other on the phone and just one person be muted if they wanted, but hey. Like, it was fine. It was a nice thing. I guess, to me, romance is about the characters. And the show started off kind of slow for me, particularly because the girl, Isaki, felt so like it was trying to be idealistic with her being quirky and cute. Like, she was a very artificial, manic, sleepy, dreaming, impaired girl. Like, she was just a token, bubbly romantic interest, and I felt it was too, like, making her artificial for the sake of Gon to connect with her. But what I loved about the show, and easily my favorite part about it, was the jovial dialogue and actions between her friend group. Like, the group of her and her 3 friends, the way they bounced off each other, they kind of like jabbed and like had like playful insults, but were there for each other's backs. Like, that whole like little friend community was like the most engaging part early on. And I do love how this show kind of, they became like this whole support community because Gon had to kind of connect with them to kind of get into their circle. And all the support that this couple got from friends and seniors and relatives and Mother Nature, like everyone had to work together. Like, it took a whole village to make this relationship. And that was really endearing. And I just, by the end of it, I think the whole group, the way everyone was just like, yeah, be a couple. Yeah, we're here for you. We're all good buddies. Like, it was just kind of like, yeah, you felt good about everyone involved. Even if there wasn't, like you said, there's no bad guy. There's no drama. There wasn't any really big stakes, but it was just more relaxing and casual, and I was okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you covered a lot right there, to be honest. That was like a lot of the middle section of the anime.
Yeah, I mean, how many times could you count where Ukigawa, Gon's friend, who just like was there all the time to help him out, literally no questions asked. He was like the best wingman you've ever seen, like just always, like, that's a little not practical. But I could argue, so one thing that did bother me was Ganta was always, like, the second they felt any sort of, like, pressure or difficulty, the issue was solved. Where he's like, oh no, we have to do this big old trip, but, you know, we don't have the funds. The second later, Isaki's like, oh, we can stay at my grandmother's house right here. Boom, problem solved. Or Ganta's like, oh, I need to make money for this big massive trip. And then the senpai, it's like, oh, you can work for me. Like, it was like so instantly that every single problem, anything that could have like snowballed into an issue, was solved in the blink of an eye. And while that is like overly convenient, I could argue that a big part of Ganta's story is him not being able to sleep, but keeping it to himself, not telling his dad, not telling his teachers, keeping all his anxieties and feelings, you know, held up, pent in. But the second he starts sharing that with people, which Isaki kind of draws out of him to share your problems, then they get solved easily. And I think that could be seen as a whole message of, like, if you communicate with your friends and family and people close to you, things aren't so bad and actually ends up not being a problem. And I think that's a good message, even if it came off as too convenient.
Oh, man. Where to go from here? I wonder about the insomnia thing in the show. I mean, I know that they... In my opinion, they're using the insomnia as just a vehicle to get this anime going. It doesn't seem important. Yeah. But also, like, these anime that are about, like, these like, conditions people have, like... Insomnia, I mean, I don't want to, like, speak for anybody. I mean, I had a lot of sleep anxiety when I was younger. But, like, insomnia is not tough to deal with. I mean... You can treat it easily. I mean, there's like 100 medications and about 100 different non-prescription medicine like remedies for not being able to sleep. So, I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. This is another one of those shows where like there's a problem at hand that exists to create the connection between the two characters, but really the problem that they're having isn't much of a problem. I mean, you can basically fix. I can guarantee you, if you take 4 Benadryl, you will sleep. I guarantee it. It will happen. If you take an Ambien, you're going to sleep There's a lot of other medicine too, a lot of antihistamines that they give people just because the drowsy effects are so intense that they'll straight up put you out. I mean, if you take a Klonopin, good night, you will probably sleep for 15 hours. So, and a warm glass of milk, tea, people listen to like meditative like audio tracks. There's like a lot of stuff people do. Read a book.
I mean, they do say that they tried like some of those, the boring listening, reading a book. I think it's more just, like you said, it's not actually an issue in the sense of the show is trying to solve it. It's an issue in that these characters feel like they are not normal. They are missing a part of the normal human experience, and it makes them feel like outsiders. I get what you're saying. You're like, why don't they just take things so that they can sleep better?
Well, yeah, exactly. But like my bigger problem with the show was that like you don't even need to do all that. Like, yes, not everybody's situation with that is the same, but insomnia is a well handled condition at this point. I know a lot of people have insomnia, but but like rather than, I just feel bad because this anime had a lot of promise, and rather than like see like what I would have preferred would have been where these two, rather than like go down the route of having to like drug yourself until you're talking to your toothbrush on Ambien or whatever. They find the cure for their problems in each other and lean on that a little bit more in the show to develop like more of a romance, more of a bond, but and actually like use that connection to address a problem, and then they like find a connection between each other through that solution, but then they lean into it and actually like develop that rather than just touch on it and then move on, which is I feel like what this anime did, because I just don't particularly find anything compelling about the same like school events that anime just has like this fucking problem, man. It's like you had a great idea, like it was a decent idea, but rather than do anything with it, we're back to like astronomy club activities and the beach and the fucking bullshit. Like, Christ, I mean, it's like I said on the Discord, if anybody that like watches anime ever gets reincarnated as like a Japanese person, you can just skip all of school because you've already done it like 500 times. Because I don't know what it is in anime that just compels people to just do the same goddamn things over and over again, but it is just not interesting at this point. I'm almost at the point where when I see a beach episode, I just skip the whole damn episode because I know that absolutely nothing's going to happen. It's the same stupid crap. We're just going to be like embarrassed about our swimsuits, and someone will fall on someone else and have like a fucking moment that is unrealistic but looks cute, but then nothing happens. And another firework festival where they put their yukatas on. It's like, how does anybody derive any value from this at this stage in this stage in anime? I mean, it's been done absolutely until I am ready to just gag on it. I don't know. I don't know how you felt, but I just feel like this anime had a good idea and they just threw it away and went down the same road. They went down the same road everybody else goes down, and it was just kind of upsetting.
I would probably argue that while they started down the same road, they did do enough to mix things up. Like, yes, they did go to the beach, but their beach episode of wearing the swimsuits and stuff, they weren't at the same place at the same time. They had their whole school festival. Oh, the astronomy club has to do this whole thing. We have to put it together, and it's going to be a big success. But it wasn't. It got rained out, and it ended with Kanto like running away, like apologizing. And, so many of these romances end with them holding hands or doing a kiss like under the fireworks. But they actually like lived in a house by themselves for like a couple days. And that romance of them, like, doing chores together side by side. Someone cooks while someone cleans, while someone does the dishes, while someone, does the laundry. Where they're like musing about like the future that they're going to have together. Like, what kind of old lady are you going to become? What kind of old man are you going to become? Grocery shopping together. Just being goofballs and laughing and making each other laugh in ways that other characters didn't. Those are like the core tenets of a real world relationship that we often don't get in anime. Like these little just living life like a pseudo couple. Of course they weren't actually, they were just renting or house sitting at their grandmother's while they were alone. Like, but those were like the closest to an actual relationship that we actually get in anime, and seeing them interact with each other despite being high school kids, it felt like so much more mature and felt like, oh, they could actually, be a couple instead of two characters that are both really attractive and you're like, wow, so they're really cute together, and they blush at each other and like, oh, he's my doki doki. Like, no, they felt like natural people who are in a relationship. And I thought yes, they're hitting all the greatest hits that you talked about. They are wearing yukatas to the fireworks show. They are going to the beach, but they did it in a much more natural way than I think the tropes of anime normally lend us. So, I think that's really what sold me on the show.
Yeah, I mean,
were those moments.
I mean, the show wasn't terrible, like I said. I don't know. I mean, I'm just old and crotchety, I guess, but like I just don't get a whole lot out of these. I don't know.
And that's fair.
I can't watch the same. You've made valid points, but I mean, the minute that they start talking about clubs, I'm like, okay, here we go, and it almost always hits the notes I expect. So I just wonder why. I asked on the Discord, no one answered me. I just don't understand why we continue to watch anime like this. They just don't seem to add much, and there's almost. It's just frustrating because I really like these two characters. Although it was funny the minute that like the sister popped up in the show, and she's like, at least in my opinion, vastly more attractive than the little sister, and the guy's there. I'm just like, oh boy, here we go. You're going down a road that so many men have gone down, where you like the sister and where you like this girl, and then you meet her sister, who's like way the fuck hotter than the sister, and you're like, ugh. It's like, oh my god. Now, whatever. But, that's just, I don't know. A funny joke for people that have been in a lot of relationships and probably have experienced that. But I really like these two as a couple. And it's so clear between the two of them that they are, they flesh it out at the end. It's like, I love you. Oh, I love you too. But like the setting was perfect. You got they're under the stars again. This completely unrealistic star view that like I don't know. For give me a fucking break. Like there's really almost nowhere that has a sky like that, unless you're like at the top of a mountain in the Rockies, not a single light bulb anywhere in sight. But like, I like you. Oh, I like you too. Wow, look at this like fairy tale like beautiful sky that we're all alone and we're having this romantic moment, and they still can't seal the deal. And I'm like, Jesus fuck, like, give me a bone, throw me a bone. Like, I understand that, like, probably it's understood that they're gonna like be happily ever after, or be a couple or whatever. But it's like, I watched the whole show. I sat through all your boring nonsense, and you're not even gonna give me that moment in when you've teed it up perfectly. It's like it's on the tee. Just tap it in. Just tap it in. You're like tappy tap tappy. You could even tap that ass if you want, but that won't happen. But it's just like, for fuck's sake, like, I'm almost feeling like anime, like, not anime fans, but the Japanese people who make these shows are almost like phobic of like kissing somebody, because like it just never fucking happens. It's like so rare. It seems to happen more in the non-romance anime. Didn't I just watch a show where people kissed and I was like, God, that's unusual. I know we just reviewed a show like that recently. They kissed several times and I was like, this isn't even a romance. But I don't know. I'm just continually disappointed by people that like romance anime. Like, must just have given up at this point, because this is really a slice of life, in my opinion. It's not. I mean, there's romance in it, but you're never going to get what you want. So it's the same story.
Yeah, I guess it's a question of, do you want to see a romance story that is not like the one you got, or do you want to see a romance story that is similar to the romance you have in real life? And I feel like if you want one that's more grounded and realistic, it's going to be a show like this. But for most Japanese audience members, it's going to hit on the same beats of doing the typical, things that happen in your Japanese high school life. So it makes sense that these, like you said, greatest hits are going to show up again and again in these romance shows, because that's similar and what's familiar. And I don't know if you... I
didn't really find it realistic, though. You're saying this was realistic? Realistic romance? I
felt that their development was more realistic than we normally get in anime.
Man, I mean, these we can't even throw out the they're 14 years old excuse. These are like graduating high school seniors. They're like possibly 18, possibly 19. There are 19-year-old seniors in high school.
I thought they were like fresh. He was like 16 or 17. Regardless, doesn't matter.
Isn't there a scene where the guy goes, "This is your last summer. I suggest you use it by preparing for being an adult," or something? And I was like, oh, they're seniors. There's a teacher that says that. They're like, "Oh my God, yay, summer break," and then he goes,
Yeah, I thought it was
"Prepare
the
for your
assembly.
future." And I'm like, "Oh, they're fucking, they're seniors." But like, it's just as realistic for two people. Like, if two people are gonna like snuggle up and sleep together in like the fucking club room, they could just as easily just make out with each other and then fall asleep than they are to just fall asleep and do nothing. Because you're an adult, you're pretty much an adult at that point. So to go like fucking, I don't know, months and months and months, and this situationship, this nonsense. It's like, just, I don't find it realistic at all. I don't know, well, they're 16. Who gives a fuck? 16, 20, 30? I don't know.
I mean, it felt like it was far less of a situationship than normal, but I guess we can move on. Visually, this
let's move on.
anime was pretty not great.
Yeah.
Very wonky, a lot of mistakes consistently, almost so many mistakes that it became just normal. I like how they tried to use the cats as like shorthand for scene transitions, but those cats look so unnatural. They looked like puppets the way they moved with like no grace or fluff to them. I didn't like how they used the live action camera in like the ED. I know the music wasn't whatever, but like I didn't like that inclusion. I do like the character designs. I like their more realistic weight and proportions than the anime default. I like their trendy outfits, and the kind of time they put into wearing them. It made sense, though some of the outfits were too trendy. Like Ukegawa is a very like earnest, hardworking boy. And listen, I'm an old man in America. I am not keen on youth culture of fashion in Japan.
You're not an old man.
He's wearing, like, compared to these characters.
Bro, I'm so much older than you.
Ukegawa, this like down-to-earth, friendly dude, shows up wearing a button-up short sleeve shirt where the top 3 buttons are buttoned and the bottom half of his t-shirt is just hanging open, and he's wearing like a white undershirt below it. And it just seemed like it was not the kind of outfit that character would wear. Did it break my immersion with the show? No. Did it make the show bad? No. But it was like the desire to be so trendy and fashionable with the outfits did not correlate with how the characters felt to me. And maybe that's an in thing. Maybe cool kids are wearing that nowadays. I don't know. But if they are, I don't think Ukegawa would be wearing them, and I don't think most people wear it. So, old man mitts moment from Mason, but I'm just not aware of that style. So, the sound effects were sloppy sometimes. Like, it just production-wise, it felt cheap in a lot of ways. And yes, the skies were kind of beautiful, but it was just, you compare it to another show that the same studio did about staying up late, which is Call of the Night, and this show was far inferior in its visual presentation. So I was a little bit bummed about that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't visually appealing. I didn't think the models were always on point. There were some spots where like Isaki looked really, I don't know, wonky, just like weird, like not attractive looking, because like they would draw her face like off balance and stuff, and I'm like, geez, what the fuck's going on with that shot? And then like 2 seconds later, she looks totally normal.
Yeah, and she does have some great designs, some great funny faces along the way, but sometimes just in a random shot, her just will be blown out to bits, and you'll be like, they put their third string on this one, and it shows. And I don't think that would have changed my opinion if this had like, god tier visuals. Like, fundamentally, it's not changing the story. It didn't get in the way of it, but it also was like, bit of a shame.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the music was really not that great either. I mean, it's fine. It's like, I don't know. It didn't get in the way, so it wasn't. I mean, there are shows with great music that you notice the music because it's so amazing. Then there's shows where you notice the music because it's horrendous. I'd say this was somewhere in the middle. Like, it was kind of, I didn't notice it generally.
It wasn't offensive at all.
Yeah, I can't.
Besides the OP.
The OP, man, whoa. I mean, yeah, I can't recall really any specific like background music from the show, so it was probably just like it served its purpose. It was fine.
I could not name like a motif from the show.
Yeah, me neither.
So it was just very forgettable. I mean, there was some nice red herrings they put in with the whole Isaki like alluding to an illness, and you're like, oh no, is it going to be one of those shows where she dies at the end? But it turned out to be like actually a surprisingly good commentary about respecting those who've had illness and kind of just treating them as normal and not babying them. And I like kind of how the sister kind of waxed about having a younger sister who was going through, the heart conditions and how that impacted her. Like there were some nice moments beyond just the romance that I did enjoy with the show. I think it had some, like you said, a lot of good ideas working. Just not
really
all
did.
of them were firing on all cylinders. I'm ready to score it, I think. A little bit scatterbrained.
I'm going to look up this heart disease that this girl's got. Yeah, it's not really that big of a disease. It depends on how severe.
They played it like appropriately.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I would say about the characters is that like I'm just surprised that they. I mean, maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention, but it did seem like the insomnia just disappeared for most of the show. I mean, right at the beginning, Gonta was like fucking dark circles under his eyes. He's barely awake. And by episode 6, it's just like it didn't seem to really pop up much. And I'm just thinking like it doesn't just go away. Like if you're not gonna treat it in any way, like it's not just gonna vanish. Like I think you can grow out of these things. Like kids have night terrors and stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff with sleep. People sometimes they grow out of it, sometimes they don't. But like insomnia, like in the span of a couple months, like it's not just gonna disappear. So I don't know. It just seemed like that kind of was weird. I don't recall him like sneaking off into to sleep under a tree anywhere or something like that, but. It's a fine anime again. I just think it's just more of the same. Like, predictably, I thought episodes 1, 4, and 13 were the best, and those are the episodes where all the romance happened. It was the first meeting between the two of them, the beach scene, which was the best scene in the show, in my opinion, and then the end, which had quite a lot of romance, but they never quite sealed the deal. So yeah, I mean,
they did kiss in episode 8?
Oh, I didn't even see that happen.
When it was not like the typical romance kiss that you're thinking of. It's when Gonta was like thinking back about his mother and kind of expressing why he's so afraid and why he thinks he has trouble sleeping with his, fear of the future, and he's crying, and Isaki just like bounds over and gives him a smooch, and then they get really embarrassed about it. So
I don't really think was that a lip kiss?
It was a lip kiss. We got solid lip kiss.
Then I'm extra confused because like. If you're gonna, I seriously doubt that this manga author has ever been in a relationship at this point now, because like once you've kissed somebody like that in a romantic way, like, and you get embarrassed about it, it should be much easier to go down that road. Like there are certain barriers you have to break down. Like the first kiss is a major emotional and embarrassing hurdle you have to clear. Mm-hmm. A lot of guys like like Pancake and me went to a dog bar. That was like our first date. We're sitting there, and like the guy's got to make the move, and I made the move, and then after that it was way easier. Once you've done it, you've done it. It's like riding a roller coaster at a theme park. It's like, oh my god, I don't want to ride the roller coaster. It looks so scary. Then you ride it, and you're like, ooh, that wasn't so bad. Let's do all the rest of the roller coasters. So if they really kissed on episode 8, which I guess I missed, I don't know. I've watched half of this on a treadmill. Then by the end of the show, when they're sitting behind their weird little wooden fucking Stonehenge, that should have been the easiest fucking move ever. You've already done it, just fucking do it. But I don't know, that's really bizarre. That's super bizarre to me. Yeah, I can score it. I think that this anime was fine. It's a better than some romance, but not quite enough. And I guess a decent slice of life show, but ultimately just boring. Ultimately, that said, I did think this show was slightly better than average. I don't know. It has a little bit of the it factor, although it doesn't do much. So I'm gonna shock the world. I'm gonna give this anime 3 photo shoots out of 5. I thought the show was fine. But ultimately, I'm really fucking sick and tired of watching these like school club slice of life romance shows. I'm not sure how many more of these I can handle, to be honest with you. I'm getting at the end here. Getting to the end of these, like, I'm just wasting 4 hours where I have yet to hear an explanation that I accepted on as to why people like these anime. Nothing happens. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And you've seen this show before. I watched it 2 weeks ago. I watched this anime 2 fucking weeks ago, and 2 weeks before that, and 2 weeks before that. They're all the same. I don't get it. Why did the listeners pick this anime? I just do not understand. It's not entertaining. That's for fucking sure. I don't know. But ultimately, like, I am a sucker for romance. Episode 4 saved this anime. episodes 1 through 4 was more of a 4 out of 5. Mason?
Interesting, because I thought that the first couple batch of episodes, maybe the first 3, while it didn't take a while for the show to get the romance gears going and those pedals turning, because they meet pretty quickly and kind of hit it off right off the bat, it took a little while for them as a couple to feel grounded and realistic. But once it did happen, I thought, like I said, not the best visuals, not the best sound, just some sloppiness. As Mitt said, not a show to be like, oh, the AAA podcast loves this show, I'm going to watch 13 episodes all in one night. Like, no, you're not. Also, why are we getting so many 13 episode shows recently? We're watching so many. Anyway.
You mean like as opposed to 12 episodes?
Yeah.
I
We hit like a batch of them. Anyway, watching
I don't know.
episode or 2 every day, every other day, I think that's a good tempo. I thought the romance, while not spectacular, was leagues better than we often get with a show like this. At least I personally thought felt more grounded, more realistic, and more something that I was like, yeah, I believe in them, and I am cheering for them, and I just think it's a solid group, and I thought it was solid. So I'm also going to give it 3 winks of sleep out of 5. I think it didn't blow me away, but it's definitely, there's something there, and I can appreciate that. So there we go. Easy average, 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. I'm still waiting for a show that gives me, like, after the relationship. Like, there's so much fucking wild-ass drama to be had. Like, holy shit, you can cheat on each other, you can get married and then get divorced, and it's just like, there's all sorts of fucking wild shit that can happen. Like, way more shit than beforehand. Like, if you want romance and, like, drama and stuff, like, oh my god, like, we're just missing out on, like, a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah, I guess that's me. Like, I don't need the drama. Like, them just being together, being a couple, doing the dishes together. Like, that's the relationship. That's what most relationships are. It's nothing. It's the slice of life, tedium of living in a place with someone else that you kind of like and sometimes kiss and often bone, but not in this case.
It's just a theory, but
that's not for me.
You use the word tedium, but like, why who is consuming anime to experience the daily tedium of life? I have my own life. I don't know. Sajinther in the chat says it's never going to happen. This is anime, but it's like, I don't see the point then. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. What are we reviewing next week? Skip and Loafer. That's another slice of life anime, is it not?
It is, but this was your choice because you'll be out next week.
Oh, yeah, I'll be out next week. That's true.
So, yeah, just like Caroline specifically selected Insomniacs because she was out this week, Mitt selected Skip and Loafer because he'll be out next week. So,
help me out here real quick. So, this girl in Skip and Loafer in the cover art, what does this look like? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong fucking show.
Oh, what show were you looking at?
I'm looking at Skip Beat. And I'm like, this looks like Skip Beat. I'm like, wait, it is Skip Beat. Jesus,
I love it when a plan comes together.
Good Lord, I need some fucking glasses or something. All right, anyway, guys. So, yeah, thanks for contributing to the podcast and listening, watching live on Twitch. Again, if you want to support, aapodcast.com/join. We're on Patreon as well. You get a lot of extra content when you subscribe, and it's available on your favorite podcast app, or pretty much wherever you listen. We'll get you that exclusive RSS feed for you. And again, man, before I turn 40, I'd love to get that 1K mark on Apple Podcasts because we've been driving towards it for 100 years here. Next week, guys, we're going to be reviewing Skip and Loafer.
Not Skip Beat.
Yeah, not Skip Beat, which I won't be here for. Much to the, I don't know. It'll probably be a better review without me because I'm going to assume that's another like slice of life. Oh, it's a school drama.
It certainly is.
Yeah. So you have a better review without me anyway because I'm just going to say the same shit. But with that said, we're going to do an after party because I didn't watch my hentai because I didn't think it was out yet. And
no, it's a shame. And my hentai is Sleepless. It's the perfect segue from Insomniacs.
Oh my god. Yeah, well mine was a solid 30 minutes long.
Ooh.
It was like a double. It was like a Fate Stay Night episode 0 length hentai episode. So I was like, oh my god, I can't watch this like between now and the time when we have to do the hentai review. So after party coming, we'll get to these hentai episodes. Don't worry, guys. And thanks for listening. And go get some sleep. God.
Yes.
The Insomniacs.
We haven't put you to sleep. Bye.
Bye.